Our topic today is freedom. We came to decide on this after discovering an article by the New York Times. So forth, the article brought attention to the issue of immigration laws on illegal immigrants. The illegal immigrants featured in the article feel it's their duty to embark on a bus journey across America in protest for an immigration law reform. Their bus referred to as the Indocubus. They perform street acts, their own music, and poetic compositions and speeches motivating other illegal immigrants, gaining support from anyone else that hears, to stand for their hopes and cause. They continuously promote their motto, "No papers, no fear." The conditions these illegal immigrants have been cast upon them involve discrimination, the worry and fear of deportation, as well as stressing over earning a little money to simply sustain the well-being of their family. Thus we come upon our knowledge issue. To what extent is freedom valued in groups of society? Yet other problems enter our minds before developing such an issue, such as, is there more to freedom beyond immigration laws? How do other groups base and consider what freedom is? More significantly, how do these people even begin to value freedom for each other? We arrived to our knowledge issue by these initial thoughts after gaining knowledge concerning the Indocubus and what it sought. We investigated to what extent is it ethical or just for one to pass judgment about another person or a group. What generally makes us inclined to analyze, then determine who or what a person is? Perhaps the insight of these questions will provide us with the extent in which general groups of society truly value freedom.
We now explore the conception of freedom within an association. Through the different perspectives or ways of knowing the areas of knowledge, we examine varying groups in society with similarities and differences constructing their values. All societies have certain aspects and characteristics that are recognizable and definitive as to how they are known and fundamentally who they are. This idea indicates how some people are just more drawn to and more understanding of each other based off of similarities. Through the human sciences, when regarding emotion and perception, it seems that acceptance and even approval can be valued among groups as it is a way of feeling free. It is a human need and tendency to feel accepted. This claim considers what the reasons are for groups to feel the way they do. Perhaps there lies a latent phenomenon for why there are socially constructed misconceptions leading to tense feelings of disapproval, making eminent discrimination and discontentment. Within the latent phenomenon, an individual or the group possesses aspects and morale that they subjectively value, and what is left is ego clashing with another ego, beliefs clashing with other beliefs, customs clashing with other customs, and so forth. This is where differences come into perspective about our knowledge issue. When oppressed, one can either suppress their struggles or fight the oppressor. This can be stretched out varying whether the situation is on a personal scale, as far and as large as being political and universally ethical. When we say fight the oppressor, we really mean to say that tension now becomes active and the results may be wars, revolutions, the imposing of laws, civil disputes, and protesting. To counterclaim all of this, we say that oftentimes emotions felt can shroud our ability to reason and rationalize. Thus, actions carried out may be done more so with the heart than the mind. Emotions can be so narrowly involved with our desires and personal ambitions, it may be called impulsive, selfish, radical, and irrational to act so intensely, limiting our perception of the big picture. As for beneath the surface misconceptions, one can be accused of feeling threatened or using a defense mechanism, looking for an outlet to project themselves, finding an object to argue for a blame, overstressing the importance of their self or the group. Are not the terms importance and value along the same line? When valuing freedom, an individual or the group also justifies importance of the self, finding value in themselves.
The idea of importance of the self or the group brings us to another area of knowledge, ethics, which can be known through perception and reason. When concerning ethics, an idea may be argued absolutely as wrong or right, or argued relatively as what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. Today, many claim that all are born free, carrying certain human rights until the day they die. No government or any other particular human being, regardless of the time period or social status, can truly degrade or deprive any human's rights, furthermore determining their life. It is even in constitutions becoming holistic ideals and beliefs to large groups. The claim is that we humans ought to have genuine respect towards others, a sincere acknowledgement to the needs of ideally every human being on the planet, not limiting them of their own choices. Even to go as much as being kind, helping and providing for each other regardless of age, ethnicity, educational background, gender, religion, and etc. Ideally and truly, this is a perfect and peaceful world, but we all know that it is very hard to attain. Even having attained it, how much more difficult it would be to maintain. In antithesis, primarily religious and cultural influences contributes and creates the nature of an individual profoundly. For the faithful and those strongly tied to in their roots, it may be an audacious thing to be tolerant or approving, going as far as being simply respectful to other cultures or social groups. Naturally, human nature expels certain qualities on a negative polarity, that there is a tendency to judge others, become selfish, suspicious, arrogant, ignorant, deceitful, cheating, and manipulative. All these to their own scales are egoic, personal, and defining aspects to a group, when these characteristics clash with another group. Hence, we see political disputes and even wars among nations in our world. These groups deny each other's beliefs, abiding by them oftentimes for their whole life. We can find that these disputes can become so large and beliefs so strong, having a significant value because they shape the lives of not only the individuals within the group, but also the group in a whole, and other groups they influence and interact with. On a smaller scale, we can sense tensions among peers and hidden resentment towards each other. We find value in this because this also affects the course of our lives as we experience social processes and crystallize our learning and our overall perception of everything that we develop and carry us with us constantly until our demise. So our real life issue was the Undocubus.
And we can relate and feel out for these people because our parents and myself, I wasn't born here and I've moved around so many countries before we were able to get visas to come here so my dad could start working here, and we're still in the process of acquiring full citizenship in the United States.
And acceptance in society is a way of feeling free,
as we said in our video.
And so when growing up, my parents have an accent and they do not pronounce some words correctly the American way. And through the way of knowing language, I don't have that sense of freedom when I speak because sometimes I will get that accent.
You mind what you say, you know, you're kind of straining yourself back and in a way that's not really being free. But we've both adapted to America, and we have our friends here, we have our comforts here, and you know, we find our little freedoms, we make our little freedoms for ourselves.
We can still feel free in other senses.
Yeah. Like, we don't really have to worry about what other people think of us all the time, because in a way that's mentally tying you down, and who wants to be depressed about what other people think or what cultures tell you to do all the time. So that's how I value freedom.
And that's how we perceive it. Through our Undocubus activists, we find that they value freedom tremendously because they go out on this bus with no papers and no fear, and they risk everything and nothing that they have in order to have the same opportunities that United States citizens have.
And these people, it's not just these people in the world, because there's other places where there are other illegal immigrants. I mean, even in the United States themselves, but for the undocumented people, they valued it enough to set out on this bus. But I'm sure there's plenty of illegal immigrants anywhere in the world who are feeling the same oppression and tension as these people.
Although freedom is extremely valued, it is still subjective.
And perhaps it's not to what extent, because it's how you value it, and through actions is how we show it and how we feel and perceive it.
So, freedom is something worth fighting for, and it is valued. It just depends on who you are
And what you're willing to do.